every day that I served, I tried to find the reason why I was there, like the purpose behind me being in that area at that time and serving the Lord for, you know, like what my purpose was. And it's really fun to watch how the Spirit confirms that you're doing the right thing, even when you feel like you're not. It's good to have the companionship of the Spirit. But there was, in my first area, in Lusaka, there was this couple, and they were returned missionaries. They had both served different missions, and they came home and they got married, and everybody thought life was great. But the wife actually struggled a lot with depression. She was not in a very happy place, you know, and it's hard in that culture to, they don't know a lot about depression and like ways to cope with suicide and suicidal thoughts and things. And when I was 14, I actually did suffer from depression. And so like I related a lot to what she was going through. Anyway, there came a point where she actually did try and take her life, and she was very close to being successful at taking her life. But luckily, she was still living, and me and my companion were able to go to her, and she wouldn't open up to anybody. The branch tried to like reach out to her because they realized, you know, like something's really wrong, and they cared about her, but she felt like she had to be strong because she was this returned missionary. She was married, she had a baby, you know, and yet she was still having all of these feelings of depression, and she didn't know how to cope with it. And I remember there was this one time where where I finally opened up and I told her my story and the things that I felt and how I was able to overcome it, and how I shared with her that, you know, there's still days that, like, I mean, everybody has days that you're sad and that you feel alone and, you know, things like that. But the Lord is always there. You know, He knows how strong you are, and He knows how you can, the things that you can handle at that time. And so for days, for weeks actually, we would go and visit her every day because she needed friends. And really, as missionaries, I mean, that's what you can do. You know, you touch the lives of others. And even as Relief Society sisters, you know, like that's our whole calling, our whole purpose is to reach out and uplift and love one another. And so that was my favorite experience. I knew that I was called at that time in that place for her, because of what I had experienced earlier in my life. It helped her to be able to overcome it. And even after I was transferred, she wasn't completely through the darkest point, but because of our friendship, she was able to still make it through. So I appreciated that. Everything that you do every day factors into the Lord placing you where He wants you to be. You know, even just stopping and saying hello to somebody will make it so that you will then meet this other person at this time around this corner. And so it was always neat for me to look back and realize that, you know, if I had not followed the prompting to talk to this person, and I would have missed the opportunity of this other person coming up to me and wanting to talk to me. It's usually the ones that seek you out that are the ones that are ready and prepared. The ones that you seek out are the ones that you're just planting seeds for. You're just another drop in their bucket. And it was always the neatest thing for me to watch an investigator's life change as they accepted different aspects of the gospel, and making the steps and the commitments to joining the church. You know, the first time you meet them, I mean, they're awesome and they're wonderful, and you can tell that there's something missing in their life. And then as you teach them, it's like suddenly there's this light that comes on, and it just makes sense to them, you know, and they follow up with your commitment. You know, they'll stop drinking, or they'll stop smoking, and then when you come back to them and they say, you know, I feel so much happier now, you know, I feel different, I'm able to do more now, you know, just because I did this like you asked me to. And every day the Africans wake up and they live to survive. They don't really have a future to look forward to. Their circumstances definitely are improving, but they still wake up, and sometimes they don't know where their next meal is going to come from. But then when the gospel comes into their life, they suddenly become more productive. You know, they suddenly have bigger dreams, they have bigger goals, they think more about the future rather than just that day or tomorrow or even the next week. You know, they set goals to really accomplish something in life. And I believe that it's because the gospel is being spread there, and they are opening their hearts and their minds to it. There was a family in Blantyre that I loved. They were members, and they were just awesome. They, Brother Banda was an artist. He actually had a different job. It was a better paying job, but when the missionaries contacted him and he fully accepted the gospel, he realized that he couldn't keep his job because his job required him to work on Sunday. And jobs are very hard to come by, and especially a steady one like his. And yet he knew that he needed to quit his job and figure something else out because he wanted to be able to go to church on Sunday. And so he did, and that was one of the things that brought his wife into the church, that she realized that he was actually serious about this church, that he really wanted to be committed to it. And so she was able to open her heart and her mind and accept the gospel. And they had 3 wonderful little children that are going to be able to grow up in the gospel. You know, they have the articles of faith memorized, you know, and they love primary, and they sing hymns all the time. And I just loved seeing the hope that this family had, because it gave me hope for Africa and the church in Africa and spreading the gospel there. A lot of times you're placed in an area because of your companion, you know, like you need to be with your companion at that time. And sometimes your companions are brought to you because you need them. And so I love to get to know the different sisters and the different challenges that they brought with them, and how we learned how to serve together.